Europe is facing an energy crisis, especially those living in Italy, Spain, France, Poland, Germany, or the United Kingdom. Even in Romania, I can already feel this every month when I pay my electricity and gas bills, the main source of home heating in Europe. There are several reasons why this is happening, some of which could have been avoided and some not. The primary source of home heating in Europe is gas. It is very convenient, especially in winter, to heat the houses. But what's the problem with gas? 1 in 4 homes on the continent now has to choose between heating and food. 44 million Europeans say they cannot afford to heat their homes properly, while between 31 and 50 million people are classified as living in energy poverty. That is, they are not able to keep their homes warm enough. But why is gas so expensive, and why have European countries chosen it as their primary source of heating? The answer is a complex one. Measures taken by European governments, the governments of Spain and France, have resorted to reducing taxes on the energy sector and providing subsidies to vulnerable households. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi has pledged $5.5 million to offset the cost of costly bills for households and businesses, and the Swedish government has promised to help $1.8 million. But all these measures are just a bandage that cannot solve the main cause of rising energy prices. So why have energy prices soared in Europe? For Europe to be in such bad shape, a lot of things had to go wrong, and that's exactly what happened. The first thing that went wrong was the unpredictable health crisis caused by the pandemic and its consequences because of it. Many businesses and industries have closed. The maintenance of the fields and gas pipelines has decreased because due to the pandemic only a small number of people were allowed to work. Because of this, the extraction of coal and other fossil fuels has been almost impossible. As a result, there was less demand and primary energy consumption fell by 4.5% in 2020. That may not sound like much, but it is the largest decline in Europe since 1945. The problem with reducing energy consumption is not the reduction itself but the inevitable increase in demand that follows. Let's go back to 2020. The world is back to normal, but so is the demand to power businesses and industries. This demand can put pressure on any energy sector. But Europe has a unique challenge. Many European countries have promised to drastically reduce the use of fossil fuels, which other countries do not have to deal with. This is a major challenge because it is not possible to accelerate the production of energy from renewable sources as fast as accelerating the production of energy produced by fossil fuels. It is simply easier to burn more coal than to create a new solar farm. This means that Europe is at a disadvantage because as soon as demand grows, you need to find a source that can provide the amount of energy you need. And as I mentioned, the European Union intends to achieve its common goal of being the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. 9 EU member states no longer use coal. Sweden by shutting down its last coal-fired power plant. In 2020, energy production within the European Union. If we take a look at the energy production in the first half of 2021 in the Union, then we can see that clean energy represents 2/3 of the energy generated by the member states of the Union. 39% of the total energy was generated by solar energy, wind energy and hydropower, and 97% was generated by nuclear energy, which is cleaner than traditional fossil fuels. These data represent an increase compared to 2019, because the energy generated from coal decreased to 14-15. Bad decisions of some states. However, some states, members of the European Union, made some bad decisions on New Year's Eve 2021. Germany has shut down 3 of its 6 nuclear power plants. If the other 3 plants are shut down, which the German leadership intends to do, the nation will lose 15% of its energy production. But what steps will the German government take to fill this energy gap? The downside is that the state has not drawn up any plans. The only option is to use gas, but here we have another problem. The Netherlands is the European country which has the most gas after Russia. However, it began to close its natural gas fields in 2018, expecting to complete the process in 2022. Even the United Kingdom has reduced its natural gas supply since 2017. When a country cannot produce enough energy, it must import it. The problem with renewable energy as opposed to coal, gas and nuclear energy is that it cannot cope with change requirements. You can't create more wind or more solar energy. You are totally dependent on nature. How the European Union meets its energy needs. In 2019, the European Union imported 20% of its natural gas resources from outside the bloc. If Russia wanted, it could cause a major energy crisis in the European Union. That is why Europe has decided to import liquefied natural gas. In October 2021, 49 tankers containing liquefied natural gas from the US were brought to the EU. The problem with liquefied natural gas, however, is that there is fierce competition for it from other fast-growing countries such as China. Therefore its price is high. European Union, Germany, Russia, Nord Stream 2, and the war in Ukraine. As soon as the European energy crisis began, Russia through the state-owned company Gazprom and reduced the flow of natural gas by 25%. Many believe that this was a political movement whose intention was to persuade Berlin and Brussels to approve the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. This project was prepared for 10 years and was completed in 2021. The pipeline is 1230 kilometers long and unites East Lucca, Russia with Lubin, Germany. There has been a lot of controversy surrounding this project. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has approved sanctions against him, warning that Nord Stream 2 will increase the Union's dependence on Russia and increase the power of the Russian Federation. Moreover, the gas pipeline is a climate threat, but the current war between Russia and Ukraine has changed a lot. 2 days before the invasion, Germany froze the project, and recently German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier acknowledged his country's mistake. The war in Ukraine is also a threat to the European Union's energy security. If more sanctions are imposed on Russia, it could turn off the gas, endangering the lives and security of many Europeans. Or it could be the response of the Russian Federation to the refusal of European states to pay for gas in rubles as demanded by Moscow. For some EU member states, Russia is the only source of 100% natural gas that is used in Latvia, and the Czech Republic comes from the Russian Federation. Hungary is 94% dependent on the Kremlin, Slovakia is 85% dependent, and Bulgaria imports 72% of the total natural gas it uses from Russia. Conclusions. Europe can overcome this crisis. The localities will continue to be illuminated and the industries and businesses will have electricity. But the problem is a price. As I mentioned, liquefied natural gas is expensive. Therefore, more vulnerable people may be unable to pay their bills. However, even if the problem is not so serious as to leave European countries without electricity, this is an urgent one. European leaders need to find the most convenient solution that does not affect the European Union's economy, which is already facing enough problems.